I've been posting about Eddie Irizarry, who is a Hispanic brother, young Hispanic brother. I believe he was in his early 20s, who was murdered by Philadelphia police within the last 2 weeks. Initially, Danielle Outlaw, who is the police commissioner, she came out in her press conference and said that Eddie had gotten out of the car. He had lunged at the police officers with the knife, and they shot him dead. Lo and behold, like 48 hours later, they came back out and said, "Oh, my bad. The information was wrong." Apparently, he was still in the car. More information started to come out. Well, you know what? Not only was he in the car, and there may not have been a knife visible, but his window was rolled up. And he was shot and killed, which for me are red flags, sound the alarm. But today, and I never watch police videos, like, well, you know, it's going to be time for me to replay my man Kerwin Sutherland poem about these police videos and just the impact that it has on a community. I don't watch them because I'm not trying to get secondary trauma as a result of watching. I do share because I believe there is a purpose in sharing, which is highlighted with this Eddie Irizarry case, but I'll get to that in a few minutes. What came out today, was the video. It looks like from an outdoor camera in somebody's house, and it shows the police drive. Now, allegedly, he was driving down a one-way street erratically. He stopped. They came up and confronted him. In the video, you see him coming up the street. You see him stop. You see him back up a little bit. And it's on my page if you haven't seen it. Police sped down the street, hopped out of the car. Let me slow down when I say this. Sped down the street, hopped out of the vehicle with guns drawn. The officer ran around the car and started shooting. Let's rewind, because I rewinded the video because I said that happens kind of fast. He got out the car. I started counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds, and 6 shots were fired. And it wasn't as slow as my count. And even that count right there was exaggerating. And I was taken aback by what I saw. I just watched someone get murdered on camera, and I watched the coward run away and retreat after shooting 6 times, after being the aggressor, not trying to administer any type of help, not trying to see what had taken place. Was he alive? Was he not alive? But I saw the coward retreat. And I don't even want to say his name. I was flustered. I posted the video all on social media. In the video account that you see on my page, you can hear the gasps and the crying from the relatives of Eddie Irizarry, because I took it from the press conference that was had today. Like, this person is still walking the streets. This individual is still walking the streets. They get the benefit of the doubt. They get due process. Something that the ordinary folk don't get. And this is where we say this idea of qualified immunity is bull jive. Bomani Jones, who I listen to on a regular basis, and this was back during the Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd murders that took place. He proposed that cops operate under the fundamental premise that some people got to die in order for them to do their job effectively. It's like you're carrying a whole bunch of eggs. Some of them might get cracked. That's just the name of the game. And so when we look at it from that perspective, I can definitely see why police thinks and the unions come out in defense, and some public folk come out in defense and ask their questions. Well, what did they do to deserve this? That's the question that I had somebody ask me on TikTok. Because they believe, first, that they believe that this faux idea of hero, them being heroes. Now, you signed up for this. You signed up for this job. You signed up for this responsibility. And so you don't become a hero for something that you signed up for. You're risking your life out of choice. A hero is somebody who's walking down the street. They happen to see a fire, like the brother who said when they was throwing the babies out the window, and he was catching them. Unlike Aguilar, he is a hero because he's just an ordinary citizen. And so when you don that suit, when you don that clown outfit, you no longer can be in the hero discussion. So I started thinking about it from that perspective. Then I started wondering within the last 2 weeks why there has been little outrage, not only from the public, but from political officials here in the city of Philadelphia. We're in election season. There's this woman, Sherelle Parker, who is all about this idea of stop and frisk, constitutional stop and frisk, even though I argue there's no such thing. Right? There's no such thing as constitutional stop and frisk. There's no way to infringe upon somebody's personal space without bringing your biases, without bringing preconceived notions about the community with whom you're policing. There's no way. But I was wondering why I didn't hear from her. I don't think I heard a statement from Jim Kenney, who is the current mayor. Some folks say he's been a lame duck for a few years, and he been said, nah, I'm good. I'm Gucci. City council people, haven't heard from him. Why? Maybe it's because it's not your district. I'm not sure how that operates. State representatives, haven't heard from them. People who I respect. People who I admire. Other individuals within the community who are quote unquote prominent black folk, prominent brown folk. I just saw an ad from 76ers place, and this was from like March or April, unbeknownst to me. But I saw this ad, and it had, I'm not going to name the people who I saw advocating for 76ers place, because it's going to drum up black businesses. They're donating money. It's going to help the economy. When they disregard what their Chinese brethren are saying, right? Just disregarding that. Nah, because we focusing on black and brown. That's when we talk about this idea and how problematic and pervasive white supremacy is. Because it'll have you looking at individuals who are being oppressed by the same systems, and will have you perpetuating those same ideas. Yes, JPZ is less than 2 weeks old. I didn't hear from any of them. I haven't saw a statement. Nothing. And it makes you think. Where we talk about when folks say they care about community. We know this isn't the truth. We know that folk care about their standing and care about perception more so than the work. Again, some of these people are doing some good stuff in the community, but this is one of them ones. This is one of those incidents. For no other fact than the police commissioner got up there and told a bold-faced lie due to bad intel. So it makes you think, again, these two individuals, these two cops, they sat and got their story straight. This is what we're going to tell the brass when they come. What happens? Because when you're in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, you got to make a decision right then and there. You're not thinking about the security cameras that are catching this on tape to debunk your lies. But this goes to show that, again, the brass are like, we're going to take your word for it. Because why? No other reason than you're wearing this Klan outfit. Dig what I'm saying? And I got homies I'm cool with. Let's be clear. I got homies who I'm cool with. My man Dave. Good brother. But he dons the Klan outfit as well. Good brother. Don't got a bad word to say about him, except when he put on that outfit. Because we understand the origins of the police here in America. So not only do we have individuals who are just ignoring what's taking place, your prominent folk, your political folk, you got the people. Hence the reason why I'm not surprised that the videos that I've put up haven't been shared a whole bunch of times. I'm not shocked. Because what it takes is, it takes a perfect storm for something to catch national attention, local attention. It takes a perfect storm. The only reason that George Floyd became such a national story, a polarizing moment, a lightning rod across the globe, it's not because it was caught on camera. It's not because he was being choked out on camera for how many minutes? What's the number for Dave Chappelle's special? It was because the world was shut down. Nobody could go anywhere. Nobody could do anything. All you had was your phone. The world was on ice. You think of George Floyd, and it shows the cops have killed more people post George Floyd than in a few years prior to George Floyd's murder. So what does that show you? And yes, it's on camera. So what does that tell you? What that tell you is it was a perfect storm. And unfortunately for Eddie Irizarry, it's not a perfect storm. It's the end of the summer. You got kids going back to school, kids going back to college, people taking their vacations, coming back from vacations. It's a lot of moving around. Outside of the fact that your traditional media, and when I say traditional media, we talking about white media, they're not leading with this story nonstop. It hasn't hit national news at this point, although I do believe I saw something in the New York Times, which is what? Behind a paywall. Hence the reason why I say that the outrage is so small. It's so limited. You know what will help that? If the family's spokesperson, their attorney, was a Ben Crump. If he was a Lee Merritt. If he was a Philly's own Michael Kors. Salute to him being honored by Cheney University. You might be, Phil, what do you mean? When I posted that video of Eddie Irizarry, I went and looked for Shaka Johnson's social media. Couldn't find it. Saw a Twitter account from 2012. On IG, I just couldn't find it at all. You know, I'm not searching on Facebook. That means something when we're talking about taking a local story and making it national. What that does is that galvanizes the people. When Ben Crump posts something, the world takes notice. And it's not to cast aspersions on Shaka Johnson by any means. I hear he's a strong attorney. But if you're going to be in this space, handling a case like this, you have to be able to touch every space. Holding a press conference with the news media might come, the biased news people, who all they just want to report on is murders, to have folk thinking that the world is unsafe. When historically speaking, the United States of America is as safe as it's ever been in history. But you wouldn't know that if you go to a My Fox Philly. because that's not their job. Their job is to drive, is to get clicks. Their job is to have salacious headlines. And what's more salacious than gun violence, murder, especially of black folk? So unfortunately, for Eddie Irizarry's family, this might not get the attention that it deserves. I'm not going to tell you what's happening with Larry Krasner, right? That's not my man. You know, I don't advocate for the legal system in any capacity. However, truth is, this person's still on death duty after we saw him shoot somebody 6 times. Within 5 seconds of exiting his vehicle. When we talk about solutions, I don't know what the solution is in this. And my part is to, make sure I'm sharing this video with hopefully a thoughtful caption, hopefully to have people thinking. Hence the reason why I put 5 seconds from exiting his vehicle. So people can see how quick that is. So people can realize, and I've driven down a wrong one-way street before. In North Philadelphia, around Temple University. You think it's a regular street, and next thing you know, it's one way. And all it takes is going down a one-way, making that mistake for somebody to come down, hop out the car 5 seconds and shoot you? Knife or no knife? What if you're a chef? What if you want to carry a knife for for protective purposes? God forbid it was a gun. Or a cell phone case. We've seen that before too. But there's this disconnect that exists in this world of social justice. And I don't think, as somebody who finds themselves occupying this space of black liberation and advocating on behalf of folk of the global majority, there's this disconnect, man. And it's a result of capitalism, patriarchy, white imperialism, white supremacy. I got the order mixed up. But what Bell Hooks said. Hopefully, the return in the next century or so is back to community. Because if not, we are all doomed.